haven't said that out loud yet until just now, and I'm saying it and I'm thinking, make that fight. Dustin Poirier Nate Diaz. That's set up for a war. I had this horrible gut feeling all week with Dustin Poirier. I just had this feeling that he was going to be one of the best fighters to never win a belt, and I know it was horrible and I didn't want to see him lose. I didn't want to see either people lose. I just could see his face on the thumbnails. He has one of the most impressive CVs, most impressive resumes in UFC history, I believe, and definitely in the lightweight history. You have a look at the people he's beat, you have a look at the people he's faced in general, incredible caliber of opponent. But we're going to have a look at what happened, what went wrong for him, and also who he's going to be fighting next, or who I think he should match up with. Anyway, before we jump into the video, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and the little bell icon to stay up to date with the channel. And if you don't know what I bring you on the channel, then come on, get up to speed by now. Behind the scenes footage, interviews, breakdowns like this, and I bring you daily MMA shorts. So hit the buttons, get involved in the comments, and let's get into it. Dustin Poirier. It was a difficult one. It was a difficult one to watch, and what I will say for him first and foremost is he held it together well. I know he nearly came into tears in the press conference, but how composed he was with everything afterwards, fair play to him. Because if you looked at his eyes, you could see how dead inside he was. Even when he spoke about positive things, which I'm glad he did, you could see how much it meant to him, and rightfully so. Everything he's gone through, every fight he's had since he came onto the roster has been a grind, has been an entire grind. And he looks up to people like Bisping, and if you look at their paths and you look at them as fighters, they're so similar. And it was just very upsetting, and for it all to happen the same way that it did with Khabib, it was just always going to be, I felt like it was really set up for that failure, and it already happened once with a grappling specialist, and now he goes against the best Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner the UFC's ever seen. And that's not a subjective conversation. He has the most submission wins of all time. The deficit in Justin's game, and it's a minor deficit, because he's actually very good on the ground. He's got a very good ground game. He's a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He's not the best grappler. He's not got the best takedown defense, but that's his slightest deficit, and it's been exposed the two times that he's got the chance, against Khabib and against Charles Oliveira. It's upsetting because that's what separated him from a belt, and in any other year, if he comes up against anyone more of a striking background, I think he wins that belt. You can say what you want about the two wins over Conor McGregor, whether you think they're due or not, but Conor McGregor is definitely one of the best strikers we have in MMA's history. I'm ignoring his most recent fights, but you have a look at his body of work. He's definitely one of the best boxers in the UFC. So who's next? Who's next for Dustin? Now, this is a huge question, bigger than most, because he can go a few routes with this. He can go down the money fights. He can go down the Conor McGregor, the Nate Diaz, one fight left on his contract. I've said that. I haven't said that out loud yet until just now, and I'm saying it and I'm thinking, make that fight. Dustin Poirier Nate Diaz. That's set up for a war. Nate Diaz, one fight left on his contract. But this is what I was going to say next. Yes, he has the chance to go back into 155, claw his way back up. He's still young. We've seen him do it before. I just think this is a very different time. And you have a look at the people moving up in that food chain. You have a look at the Beneil Dariushes, who again would expose that weakness on the ground, who's actually a very accomplished striker, and he would have those wars with Poirier. Not as well versed on the feet, no, but Dariush would be able to get down. You look at Islam Makhachev, you look at Charles Oliveira. I think any reasonable person looks at that, and maybe you have to start having a more intelligent think. Are you better versus squeezing out different fights for maybe legacy. But again, that's down to him. So there are his options really. Does he go back into the shark pool that is 155? Now, I'm not saying that he couldn't beat all the odds and claw his way back to the top, get a title fight and snatch the belt. I don't believe that to be the case. But just from a marketing perspective, from where he is currently, could he do... I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say, because who am I to say what route he should go down? There's a lot of options on the table for him. Who I don't think he gets next is Makhachev v Dariush, the loser of. I don't think he takes that very quickly. I don't think we have an answer on that fight for quite some time. I don't think he's making any decisions quickly. He's fought 3 times this year, which is incredible, by the way. Especially the energy of those fights, which makes a big difference. He's not rocking up with he's had a couple of interviews on the week and then he gets there and he's fighting in the Apex and cool. No, these are the highest profile fights in the company. There's cameras everywhere. There's interviews everywhere. It's very draining. And the fact that he can even do 3 of those in the year, which is incredible, but he's not getting back in there anytime soon and jumping in with Dariush or Makhachev. I think he needs to take some time off. Who do I think he fights next? I need to give an answer. I can't just say, oh, he needs to have some time off after all of that. But I think he does. He needs to really decide what he wants. I don't think it would be advisable to jump straight back into a fight and then get caught up in the whirlwind of it and maybe hadn't thought it through, hadn't cleared his head, hadn't mourned the situation and gets another loss, and he's in a very different place in his career now. So the answer to that is I think he needs to fight Nate Diaz at 170. I think he needs to fight Nate Diaz at 170. McGregor, to me, is if he's purely interested in the money. But if he's actually interested in the idea of moving up to 170, because he spoke about it, if he's interested in the idea of actually competing against a 170 to test his skills, we know Nate's in that upper echelon. Huge money fight. And not a crazy level of animosity or bad energy or anything that he's just not really interested in. He's seen it all before. I think that's the fight to make. Nate Diaz. I'm putting that on paper. Now, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like, subscribe and a little bell icon. Again, thank you very much for the engagement. The channel's actually growing pretty quickly and I'm getting a fair few comments on my video, so it's very much appreciated. And let me know in the comments as well what you'd like to hear. I obviously make conversations about things that are on my mind, but let me know what you would like to see. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Peace.